this morning, and you've been hearing us talk this morning more about the candidates. Election Day not too far away when we talk about November 7th. And joining me this morning is Barbara Krause Babbitt. She is candidate for the mayor in the city of Greene. And you heard earlier this hour, we talked with Rocco Yurgen, the other candidate for the mayor in the city of Greene. So, Barb, kind enough to join us this morning. And Barb, thank you very much. And I guess let's get to your background. And the resume is pretty thick when you talk about St. Vincent St. Mary, law school, PTA, city council. But let's talk about what you bring to the floor as far as experience in your quest to be the next mayor in Greene.
Well, as you mentioned, I have been on Greene City Council for 6 years, so I'm pretty well versed in what's going on in the city right now. I also am a former prosecutor, and I was in the civil division of the Summit County Prosecutor's Office, so we handled a lot of the same things that the city faces as the attorney for the county. So I have a lot of experience there with the budgeting and working with different departments and that sort of thing. And I'm also a small business owner in Greene, so I think that gives me a very good perspective, as far as my small flower farm that I operate in Greene and being part of our own little economy that way.
Well, Barb, when you look at the experience, it's education, it's city government, and then also in the economic side of being a business owner. And you said on council, you kind of understand what's going on in Greene right now. So let's talk about that, what you like about what you've been a part of Greene, and then maybe some of the challenges moving ahead if you were to become the next mayor in the city.
Sure. We do a lot of things well in Greene, and we're very fortunate to have a strong economy and a lot of money to work with to be able to provide good services, good parks for our residents. And we're very fortunate economically in Greene, and that has a lot to do with why I'm running. I have seen over the past 6 years as a council member the city take on a lot of debt for roundabouts and for the new community court center that we're building for the schools, well, also for the use of our residents. And we've also taken on a lot of big, costly projects and purchases since I've been on council. We've bought Raintree Country Club, and we've done a lot of things. And unfortunately, we've also seen a number of our largest employers leave the city. Actually, 5 of our largest employers have left the city over the last 6 years. So I think that right now the challenges facing Greene, and really the primary reason that I'm running, is that I think we need to adjust to all of those changes, the businesses leaving and the spending, and really focus on getting new business into Greene that fits in the post-pandemic business landscape, businesses that will fit into the community and will provide things that Greene residents are looking for, but that will also be sustainable and stay to supplement our tax base. And then on the flip side, I think a challenge facing Greene is that we really need to rein in our spending to make sure that we do stay in a healthy economic position. So I think it's time to get back to basics, really, and focus our spending on maintaining all the good things that I mentioned that we do have, like our parks and our streets and the things that our residents have come to expect from Greene. I think we really need to focus our attention and our spending on maintaining what we have that's great.
With us this morning is candidate Barbara Krause Babbitt in the city of Greene, running for mayor. Barb, you threw a lot of darts there on the wall there. You got my mind spinning. So I'm gonna play off some of your answers there. You mentioned big employers leaving the city of Greene. Probably some of those, or maybe all of them, can't be helped because you go to the corporate headquarters or whatever it might be. But talk about that loss of the business tax base to the city of Greene. And then you also mentioned in bringing in the right development. So hit those two areas for me, if you don't mind. Maybe expand on your thoughts there.
Sure. I think that businesses have left for different reasons. in some cases, I think, we did have corporate headquarters, and in the post-pandemic world, businesses don't necessarily need the corporate headquarters the size that they may have had in Green. They may have gotten incentives elsewhere to go. So for whatever reason, those have left. And I think we do need to recruit businesses to Green that will be sustainable in the future. And they may be smaller businesses. There may be industries we haven't explored. We need to really focus on our area down by the airport and get the right businesses in there to supplement our tax base. And I think it's going to take a new perspective and a new focus. My plan would be to get business leaders together to talk about what those businesses might be that will be sustainable and green in the future, and how to get them to green, what we may need to do as far as incentives and that sort of thing to get businesses to want to be in green, because they probably are not going to be large corporate headquarters like some of the businesses that have left. That's just not what it looks like right now for a city like Green. It's going to be smaller businesses, and there are also things our residents have asked for that they don't see as much of in Green that they'd like to see in Green: more restaurants, more businesses that provide things that they're looking for. So I'd like to get those in too.
With us is candidate Barb Kraus Babbitt, City of Green, running for mayor there. Barb, and picking between the lines right there, and one thing that we've never really talked about in the City of Green is a concern about finances. You guys have always really been in good shape through the previous mayors and leadership there. But in listening to your words, it sounds to me like you have a little bit of a concern pertaining to finances now and moving forward in the city.
Yes, and our mayors have done a good job, and we are in a healthy financial situation. My concern is keeping us there. And I do think with the changes that we've seen over the last few years, with our tax base and with some of the spending that we've done and the debt that we've taken on, I do think we have to take a bit of a more conservative approach in Green right now to stay in that healthy financial situation. And so that's why I'm talking about the things that I'm talking about. I want to keep us there.
Barb, when I look at the City of Green, and you mentioned the parks, which goes to the quality of life, but you also have a growing city. So then I want to bring up infrastructure there, and that's a big, broad brush when you talk about infrastructure and how you see Green now. And will there be the need to improvements when you talk about bringing businesses in with the growth of a city? Is there a need going forward for increased and a higher level with infrastructure?
Well, I'm sure there will be a need going forward, but right now we are at a taking stock point. And like you said, we do need to get I'm talking about bringing new businesses in, and we'll have to see what that's going to look like as far as what infrastructure will be needed. But right now, I think we need to get those businesses in, and we need to do some things we haven't done in quite a while in Green, like a traffic study, to make sure that the projects we take on are necessary and important and a good use of our funds. We have done a lot to develop, for lack of a better word, our infrastructure in Green over the last few years, and that's been expensive, and maintaining it's expensive. So right now, I think we need to make sure that we can cover those costs of maintaining what we've done and taking care of what we already have, and then do our homework before we decide on other new large projects. I think right now is a time of taking stock and really looking into things rather than deciding about big new infrastructure projects. And I know that's not necessarily what you expect to hear during election season. Maybe larger promises are what you expect to hear, but that's not what we need to be doing right now in Green.
Barb, let me ask you this. Law enforcement always big, and you've got a city that's on the move and growing. Are you happy, and would you be pleased if you were to be elected mayor of the relationship with the Summit County Sheriff's Department?
I think that we have a good relationship with the Sheriff's Department. As a council person, I have found that I've had good response when I've needed to talk with a representative from the Sheriff's Department and get help for residents and do things I've needed to do on that end. You always will hear in Green people talk about a desire for our own police force. And it's definitely something I think people think about, and that I suppose at some point could be a good consideration for Green. Unfortunately, I have to take it back to the financial side again. And right now, I just don't think that that's a feasible financial goal for Green to have its own police department. So it's important that we keep that good relationship with the sheriff's office, and I think we've had it with the different sheriffs that have been Summit County Sheriff. And I think, as long as the communication lines stay open and the relationship stays good, we're in a good place. And right now, financially, I don't think we have the ability to explore other options.
All right. Barbara, what I like to do in wrapping up the conversations with all the candidates is give you about 30 seconds to talk to those voters in Green and why you feel you're the right person to move into that mayor's office. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I feel that I'm the right person at this point in Green. I'm a lifelong resident. I love the community. I've served on city council for 6 years, and I am concerned about where we're going. I want to make the right decisions now to keep Green financially healthy for the future and keep providing the quality of life here that residents have come to expect, and I think I'm the person who can do that. I think I'm the right choice at this point.
All right. Well, listen, good job this morning. Thanks for jumping on board with us early on a Wednesday morning. Good luck the rest of the campaign. I know you've been probably pounding that pavement. You got less than 2 weeks to go with that, so good luck the rest of the way. And, again, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
There you go. Barbara Krause Babbitt, candidate for mayor in the city of Green. You've heard from the two candidates this morning, both Rocco Yeargin and Barb Babbitt, joining us this morning here on 93.5, 1590 WAKR.